I mean, really think about it. What you see all around you is, in relationships, for example, people investing average effort to get an average relationship. In regard to people's health and their weight, you look at people investing average effort or average thinking or average habits to get average weight, which, I don't know, in America that may be 50 pounds overweight and dying of cancer. I have no idea. If you look at average happiness, what the average person does may mean coming home from work or school and watching TV for 3-4 hours and going to bed. And then when you ask them if they're happy, they're like, anywhere from to clinically depressed on antidepressants. The reality is that normal almost always equals failure in the long run. And the key to losing weight, feeling incredible, and getting, honestly, the life you want is by being just 1% better than normal. What's up, ladies and gents? This is Alex Hine over at modernhealthmonk.com. Welcome to day 20 of the 21-day Tiny Habit Challenge. And today we're talking about the power of being 1% better than normal. You know, there's an old success quote attributed to Jim Rohn that says, "You attract success by the person you become." You attract success by the person you become. And I thought about this for quite a while because I couldn't quite figure out what the hell he actually meant by the person I become. I mean, isn't it about learning tactics? Read this book to get that strategy, do this guru's diet and all that kind of thing? I thought it was as simple as what is the matter of the tactics you needed to use. Now, ironically, why this success principle helped me the most was because it made me realize at least, that it's not about the book, not about the guru, not about the diet, not about any of that stuff, but it was about me. And that if I wasn't getting the results I wanted, I had to change to some kind of new person. So I decided to do a little thought experiment, and here's how it went. I wrote down all of my coworkers' habits. I wrote down their health habits, for example, because I was looking at my health at the time being. And here's what I found. I wrote down their eating habits, which number one was they ate in a rush. Number two, they ate at their desk. They ate on the go. They ate lots of bagels for breakfast. They would drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day with lots of sugar. They would go out and get sandwiches and pizza for lunch, and they would rarely cook. So in other words, I came up with 7 average habits that produced basically average health, which wasn't being healthy and it wasn't a healthy weight. And then I wrote down my coworkers' average exercise habits, which consisted of one thing: walking from the car to the office door. And then I wrote down my coworkers' actual mindsets, the way they thought. And I found a couple major things. The first one was the victim mentality. Oh, why are they always dropping this work on my lap? My dad was always overweight and had high blood pressure, so I'm probably gonna too. Or they were complaining without doing anything about it. So they'd say things like, I don't really have time to exercise, just to be honest. Or to be honest, the most insidious one was they would kind of beat themselves up. And they would say stuff like, I just never stick with anything I commit to, so screw it, I'm not even gonna bother trying. Now, it was around this time where I plotted all my coworkers' little tiny habits of the average that I had my $1 million revelation. What would happen if, for example, I just wrote down a habit that was 1% better than the average coworker? So if I was a reflection of the average person there, and those were their eating habits, what would the 1% better version of myself actually do? But it ultimately turned out to be the most important question I have since ever asked myself. Now, I've introduced you to the habit pyramid before in one of the other 21-day Tiny Habit Challenge videos. And I've introduced you to the idea of figuring out what are your vital few habits that get you the results you want. But now I want you to actually write down the core habits you're doing, and then the 1% better version of yourself, those core habits, exactly what they would be. So here's what it came out to be for me. I wrote down, eat in a rush. 1% better, I'm gonna sit down for 20 minutes and actually just eat. Eat at my desk. 1% better, I'm gonna actually take official meal times. Eat on the go. C number 2, I'm gonna take official meals. Eat lots of bagels for breakfast. I'll grab something that's just as quick, but it's healthier, a green juice. Drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day with tons of sugar. One of those cups of coffee, I just won't have sugar. Go out and get sandwiches and pizza for lunch. I'll just have pizza and sandwiches on Fridays. Rarely cook. I'll just cook dinner 1 day a week on Tuesday night. So I took all these little habits of the average, right? Here's the average bubble. Here's the 1% better bubble. This is not a big shift. This is not a big lifestyle overhaul. It's a 1% improvement. But guess what? As soon as I started cultivating this Bubbles habits, this much better, that much extra effort, not a lot of effort, not 2 hours in the gym, that much effort, everything changed. And the snowball had begun spiraling and building to the point where it started taking off by itself. So here's your tiny habit for today, day 20 of the Tiny Habit Challenge. What would be the 1% better version of yourself? What would the habits look like? I want you to comment below, tell me what one of those habits is, and I want you to start tracking that on a daily basis. Again, no big changes, just 1% better. What does that really look like? So that is day 20 of the 21-day Tiny Habit Challenge. Remember, after tomorrow, day 21, I'm going to ask you for your results because 3 people are going to get a signed copy of my book anywhere in the world. Now, make sure you click the monk dude right there to subscribe to make sure you get day 21, the final day. It's going to be different. It's going to be cool and unique. I just filmed it. Click the monk dude to subscribe. Come visit me over at modernhealthmonk.com. Enter your email to get that guide, 5 daily habits to help you lose your next 10 pounds. And if you like this kind of daily habits approach, and you're like, thank God, this is so different from this fitness crap, check out my book on Amazon, Master the Day. And if you get the book and send me a receipt to alexander@modernhealthmonk.com, I'll send you a 2-hour bonus video course for free. Just send me it to that email. All right, so I want you to leave a comment below. What does the 1% better version of yourself look like in terms of habits? What would a daily habit look like? Okay, comment below, tell me there, and I'll catch you in the last day of the 21-day challenge.